Why is Mass Effect still the thing I want to talk about more than anything else? Hi and welcome to this video. My name's Em, and as most of you will know because you're just my friends, I am completely obsessed with the Mass Effect series. It is by far my favourite game series of all time. I believe that just the narrative storytelling, the characters, everything is just so immersive and engaging that I really could not pull myself out of it. I just kept playing it over and over and over because it was just so wonderful. And every time you play it, you get a new experience. I don't have a lot of Mass Effect memorabilia because I think it's kind of cringe, but my cousins did get me this one Christmas. Guess who I romanced, guys? Just take a guess. Today, I wanted to talk about the ending, and not in the normal way of just shitting on it, because yes, I know it was massively embarrassing and big disappointment, blah blah blah. What I wanted to talk about was something that I read years ago, but I don't think many people know it. It doesn't seem to be incredibly well known outside, you know, the hardcore Mass Effect fans like me and probably a lot of the people on the subreddit, that there were like different endings planned, and the ending we ended up with was kind of the result of rushing and changing of the lead writer, pressure from EA, all of these factors which combined together to create this very rushed and nonsensical ending. And not many people have really considered what the true ending was meant to be. Now, this is open to interpretation. What I'm taking is from a source from the lead writer of Mass Effect 1 and 2, and it was kind of one of his original ideas for the ending. But to me, it seems pretty clear that this is the ending they were going for. Particularly, you can see it in Mass Effect 2. This is the ending that he was gearing the series towards. So I think he tries to play down how much this ending was intended, because he doesn't want to truly undermine the existing ending. But I think it's fairly obvious when you look at the kind of the themes and some of the events that happened in Mass Effect 2 that this was his main idea for what was going to happen at the end of Mass Effect 3. So without further ado, let's get into it. So these are some quotes from the lead director himself, a man I will call Drew K, since I have no idea how to pronounce his surname. So he was the lead writer for Mass Effect 1 and 2 before he was taken over by Matt Walker for Mass Effect 3, which to me is part of the reason for why Mass Effect 3 generally was quite disappointing. But this is what he had to say about the original, or one idea of the original ending. So in quotes, "Maybe the Reapers kept wiping out organic life because organics kept evolving to the state where they was eubiotics and dark energy that caused an entropic effect that would hasten the end of the universe. Being immortal beings, that's something they wouldn't want to see." So I thought this was a really interesting idea. This idea that the Reapers wouldn't be these completely motivationless, just pure evil creatures, that they would actually have a motivation for self-preservation that would turn them into more kind of reasonable than just pure evil. Because Mass Effect to me is all about how well written the characters are, how very few people presented are truly evil. So from this is where I think I get the main crux of what I believe he was going for. Organics were using biotics at a rate that was too fast. They were maybe a finite resource, and it was causing this really negative effect on the universe. So for example, causing stars to die much faster than they should have done. This links back, if you remember, to in Mass Effect 2, the mission in which you collect Tali. Tali is investigating why a sun is dying much faster than it should be.
Haystrom's sun is destabilizing. Back when this was a Quarian colony, it was a normal star. It shouldn't change that quickly.
Any idea what's destabilizing the sun?
If I had to guess, I'd say that it was dark energy affecting the interior of the star. The effect is similar to when stars blow off mass to enter a red giant phase. But Haystrom's sun is far too young for this to be natural.
This would play really nicely into this movement in Mass Effect 3, whereby, you know, this investigation was kind of the first warning sign of biotics and the use of dark energy and dark matter causing suns to explode, which is, you know, catastrophic for star systems. So kind of the idea here would be that the Reapers were acting to preserve the universe because organics kept evolving to the point where they would be burning up the universe with biotics way too fast. So the Reapers would have to come along and periodically destroy all the civilized societies so that they get knocked back down and can regrow to the point at which they're dangerous. And to me, this makes much more sense in terms of the Reapers' motivations than in the original series, because they were painted as pretty much just straight up evil beings. But every time they wiped out a civilization, they weren't completely eradicating life. They were leaving the kind of bacteria and cells that would grow into future races intact. They left that stuff there.
The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it.
The other thing I really like about this idea of the Reapers being there to stop civilizations destroying the universe by overusing dark energy is that it draws on a lot of the analogies made to kind of gardening within the series itself. Particularly I'm thinking of Morden in terms of the Genophage. You have this whole dialogue and this whole plotline that surrounds this idea of, is it morally justified to eradicate a dangerous species?
Genophage reduced Krogan numbers. Species aggression unchecked, population explosion would be disastrous.
The Genophage is this massive moral question, whether or not they're doing the right thing. Is it okay to sacrifice one race for the safety of all other races? And depending on what you conclude, your character kind of does choose one way or the other. You can choose to keep the Genophage or you can choose to destroy it. But earlier quotes from Morden do draw exactly on this same principle. He has a line in particular where he describes it as like gardening.
Had to keep Krogan population stable. 1 in 1,000. Perfect target, optimal growth. Like gardening.
Pruning a garden when things could become overgrown. And I think this would be such a clever and subtle link into a way to understand the Reapers' motivations for cutting down civilizations when they've grown so advanced that they are endangering the universe as a whole. I think that would be so clever. It would have been an ending that drew substantially from plot lines and moral questions that had already existed within the series. And I think that would be just such a clever way to end the series as a whole, by drawing on these previous questions. So I genuinely am convinced that this was his intended ending all the way through the series, because there are hints at it in the second game in particular, and it just makes more sense than any of the other theories in my mind, including the actual ending we got, which was completely nonsensical. Don't go there. Let's not get started on that. To be honest, I guess talking about ideas is largely irrelevant because the ending itself has been written, it's not going to be changed, and it's really basically impossible to make an ending that would have satisfied everyone. I'm sure even the stuff I'm suggested, it's got people kind of rolling their eyes, even though I personally think it would have worked better than the ending we were presented with. So yeah, that's about it. If you think strongly about this, as I do, feel free to discuss it in the comments. I'd love to get a discussion going about it, because I'm not over it. I still love the series too much. I really just miss it. I miss it being relevant, and I really do hope that they do a remastering. That's what I've got my fingers crossed for. I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Is that the best we can expect?
I've had enough of your tabloid journalism.
Ha! You want some?